And there we go. Sorry for the rocky start. It looks like my entirety of my computer decided to crash like immediately when I started streaming, which, you know, that's absolutely wonderful. So starting off a little silly, but looks like everything's good to go now. So I think we're ready to continue. So the first thing I want to address was we made it the name for a variable the other day, and it has this very long name. Overwrite cache files when running admin command. So we're going to be changing this to be something a little more descriptive now. Now that we understand the nature of this variable, a name like map cache is running, I think would be much more appropriate. So we're just going to refactor that. There we go. So this variable now represents while the map cache is running. So I feel like that name is much more appropriate than the other one, which was a little more ambiguous and also didn't quite capture the entirety of what it stands for. So this makes more sense. Now, on top of changing this name, just for sillies, we have to fix up another behavior, which we found yesterday, which is anytime we try to load another level, the game ends up trying to save the game. So last night, we were looking for any places where the save game function was called. So I'm going to go into, I believe it's going to be somewhere in here. We're going to go to the save game file. I think it's save file. And inside of save file, let's go to the header. We find a function called save game. This function is used in order to, well, as the name implies, save the game. And we can call from anywhere. It's a static function. So by design, we use it quite often when we're transitioning between maps. So our objective is to find the save file or save game command that is being executed whenever we start a brand new level. So I think the one that is being executed is probably overworld map. At least I want to say it is. I'm not entirely sure. Because we are changing the state not from overworld map, but to run game. But I'm not seeing anywhere where that happens. But then in here we do have for stay overworld map start level where the game gets saved as well. So I think since it's unclear where we're calling this, we're just going to breakpoint anytime we save the game and check for that. So I'm going to go ahead and run our game. I don't know why this window is not in the place it should be, but there we go. And once we fix that, we won't have any issues with the save file being overwritten. Because the issue right now is that the save file, every time we load one of these stages to do the pre-caching, it's actually causing the game to save every single time. And because we're on the overworld map, or if we're in any given save file, right? It's going to continuously save the data while we are going through every level. So if I actually go look inside our save files right now, we're going to find that it's specifically the metadata, but in here, come on, Notepad. You know, I used to open Notepad because it was a very small application. Now Notepad is a rather beefy application. So it takes a while to load, which is very sad. I'm going to turn this off though. We don't need Copilot in our Notepad, I promise. That is so silly. But yeah, you'll notice the first save file It used to be a level 34 ranger, but it's not anymore. We can actually see if we go into the save file itself. We'll find this save file is indeed the Rangers. Let's go scroll up a little bit and a little more. And yeah, this is what the actual save file contains. So clearly this file is not quite what it should be in the metadata. Modern day Notepad is a great example of exactly what's wrong with today's tech industry. No, I 100% agree. Like, the great thing about opening Notepad, at least in the past, is that I know it's something that will just be snappy and instantly pop up. I can look at something instantly. When it doesn't even load instantly, I'm like, I get very sad. I'm like, this isn't the point of Notepad. Okay, so I'm gonna run this, but I'm also gonna breakpoint here at save game, so we can figure out which save game call is called when this happens. Oh, you know what? It might be at the very, very end. I didn't think about that. It might just be when we're reloading the intro level, which technically is not supposed to do any saving, so I don't know. Maybe my theory is wrong. Okay, so in this case, nothing happened. Well, I thought that was what was gonna happen. Obviously, if we had load game here, it's gonna fail because of the weird save file thing. Maybe it was just an accident of what I did in the past that caused this. So what I'm going to do is artificially change these values. We're going to say this is a ranger in chapter 4 named Nico. And putting those values back in should make it so... Oh my goodness. Get rid of all that. Yeah, I have so many tabs open. I should probably have closed all this a long time ago. Editing a lot of like temporary files and such. I wonder, let me see. When Notepad starts, I kind of wanted to start a new session and discard unsaved changes. I know the previous session thing is kind of useful sometimes, but if I want to open more than one file, I'll just do it in that one file, so I can get rid of everything in there. Anyway, so maybe my theory was wrong and the game doesn't save when it does generate, but obviously when the generation is complete, the game ends up in a strange state, so the next question is, why is the game in a strange state and not just in its normal state? Because technically we're just reloading the intro level state again. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see. We might have to reference the what we do when we quit the game and follow that. Because there might be some extra things to set up for like the title screen that maybe I wasn't aware of. I just thought loading the intro level and going to the intro state would have been enough, but clearly it's not. We're also just... I don't even know what happened this time. Like, to me, I think... I don't even know if we confirmed that this finished. Let me see. Because I'm looking at campaign 4.7, so it has been written to. So technically everything was done. The game's just in... Oh, you know what? It saved when I went to leave area last time because we're stuck in this... whatever this is. And then I hit leave area and then the game will save. So I'm not going to do that. We just have to get the game back to a normal state after running this command because apparently it's all messed up. So let's see here. when we're done with the loading screen, we call game state on level load. But oh, we don't reset the level state. That's why we're having issues. So what I want to do is after we set it to loading to false, and if not has maps in cache queue, let's go ahead and load a different state. So let's just call change state game change state. Oh, I think we do it in game state. Oh, Kraton, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate the support. So let's go back to the title screen. Oh, this is the wrong state. I think it's called states. And we just go to main menu. I think when we call this, everything else gets set up, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's go ahead and try that. And then we'll put an else statement here, because I don't want to do this part by accident. I don't know if the on-level load is necessary. Because if we're done loading, we don't care to do this. Yeah, we don't care to do that. Alright, let's try this. Old Notepad is no security vulnerability for near decades. Modern Notepad is vulnerability within months of markup support. Yeah, the markup support thing was weird. I turned that off instantly because I'm like, I don't use Notepad for the formatting. Like, that entirely defeats the purpose of Notepad. I was so confused. I'm just like, why? Oh. I see. If we don't call on level load, then nothing happens. Oops. Well, that's wonderful. Oh, I see. I did this backwards. So... wait, is this the same thing? Oh, it's if there's nothing in here, call on level load? Otherwise, there's something in here. So run that. So this is supposed to set to false, but this is if it was true before. So if it was true, then do this statement. I guess there's not going to be an else then, because no matter what, we have to call on level load. But we only change the state if the map cache was running before. So I guess I can group those two up in there. It's very silly. Very, very silly. Oh. Now what happened? We had a weird decoding error? What? Load pack? What? That's weird. I don't know why that would happen. Yeah, we're just getting an access violation reading the file. Does it just not exist? Or maybe I killed it while it was writing to the file. That could have been possible too. Yeah, because every time we finished loading, we resaved the pack, so we got stuck in a loop of constantly writing the file. Maybe that was the issue. And then I just killed the program by arbitrarily stopping it, so yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna do another /generate cache. And we're gonna see what happens when it finishes. But yeah, every time it finishes loading, this asset pack gets rewritten too. So naturally, if we're adding cache files to it for the first time, the size of that file will increment over time. Okay. And then we tried to call, go back to title screen. No focus areas included in the intro map. So the question is, are we even in the intro map, or did we just change the state, right? Because technically we didn't load the intro map. So do I have to do that too? It's kind of weird that they're not connected to each other, but I guess it might also be because of this on-level load. Like, we call on-level load for, let's say, the main menu. I think there's that assumption that it automatically loaded the level. So, load level main menu I think is required. But let me see what change state would do otherwise. It would internally call change state, which just sets the previous position, then calls on state change for any particular given state, which in the case of main menu would be to play the title screen BGM and load the starting map. So I guess the issue is the starting map's not loaded, so this shouldn't be called. So this should only be called if we have... So there are two statements where this should execute. This should execute if, regardless if this is true or false, only if this is false. If at some point this is true or was true before it changed, run this. So this is a little confusing, so I'm going to add a new boolean called map cache was running. I'm going to put was because it indicates in the past this was the state. And then down here we can say if map cache, if not map cache was running, then we call that function, because we're not supposed to call that function unless, because we're doing another state change, because normally we would call on level load. And then when we do this, map cache is not running anymore, so then it will do an on level load proper for main menu the next time the loading screen finishes loading the main menu. So I was half right in the sense that the loading screen will load the starting map, but only after it actually calls that function. Because we have to remember level loading is not instantaneous. It's divided into chunks. That loading screen gets popped up. Oh, there's our character again, not being completely invisible. That's another bug. Like, I gotta figure out why that actually happens, because that's happened multiple times now we've seen. It's not every time though, which makes me very curious why that even happens. In fact, maybe we should debug it now while it's on screen. So what I'm going to do is, this is clearly going to be the player render function. So let's go to Adventures in Lestoria, render player, or, oh, I guess render player is in the player class, supposedly. Or is it a draw function? No, it might just be a lambda, I'll be honest. I think I made it a lambda. Render player. There it is. Yeah, so we have a lambda function called render player. And so we want to be in here, and I guess we want to find a place where we modify the alpha of the player. So if the player has iframes, alpha, let's just start here, right? This is a good place to be, I think. Oh, so it turns out we're not rendering the player, but we know for a fact we saw the player. You know, maybe the reason why we've never noticed that is because most of the time this is in the way. That's really interesting, actually. I don't really have a way to hide it, I think. I remember there was a build of the game where I made it so I could hide the HUD. Although that might just be a configuration option. The reason why I made it so I could hide the HUD was because when I had to create the trailer for the game, there's a couple times where you want some action shots without the HUD completely being there, so that was a good time to hide the HUD. And then I think I just put it in config. Show extra info about the player on the HUD? I guess that's not it. Maybe I removed it afterward. But it would be under, like, any place where I would call render HUD. Oh, there it is. There's a variable called display HUD. And I guess it's a variable I have to change? Oh, if scroll key is pressed. Scroll lock. Okay. Do I have a scroll lock key on here? I do. That's apparently not how you do it. Where is this? Is this in an update? Handle user input. I don't think this function runs on the main menu. Let me see. Where do we call this? We call it in on user update for state death and state game run. So we can't handle user input in here, so we can't technically hide the HUD right now. Which I guess makes sense. But I never noticed that. The player is there, but not necessarily invisible. I wonder what makes it invisible. Let me see. So let's go state main menu again. Wherever I put that. So on user update. Yeah, we do all these things, including update the camera. For draw, render world. I guess we do nothing specific here. So that's probably telling me get player set iframes. Okay. Force set position. This is to control the camera. Like the camera follows the player. So even though the player is not active, the player is quote unquote there. So, yeah, so we just have to find out what makes the player invisible during this state. So maybe in render player, there is some kind of check based on state. So now I'm looking for something that mentions maybe the main menu. So that's the group fade factor for like tile groups. And I think that's really the only mention of it. Reset game, change state to main menu, start game, initialize to main menu. Yeah, that's it. What makes the player... Like I said, maybe the player was never invisible. And I just never noticed. So maybe we should add something? Because I'm looking here. Let's go back, right? I'm surprised that breakpoint was never hit. It's almost like... Oh, here we go. So that this breakpoint's hit. Maybe it just doesn't let us... God. Come on. Come on, Visual Studio. Oh, there's an... If player is invisible. Is the player invisible right now? Invisible. Too many properties. I don't see it. How... Okay, let's just go... Just find the definition for it real quick. Okay. Okay, surely it will tell us if we hover over these properties. Based on... Oh, I guess it won't. Okay. Let's just do a watch then. Game... Get player... Is... invisible. Oh, it's a function though. Well, I want to see what it returns. I don't know. I assume it'll be optimized out normally. No address. Okay, yeah, so it's optimized out, but it's supposed to return... Let's see what it returns. Oh, a variable called invisibility. Invisibility is currently false, so I think that's incorrect. Maybe at some point that line got deleted? Like, invisibility used to be a thing, but now it's not? So, yeah, according to this, it's actually rendering the player, which is what we saw on the title screen. For whatever reason, right? So maybe we have to add that back in. It sounds like we have to. So let's just say game get player. I assume there's a set invisibility. Set invisible to true. Okay. And then after this, when we, I assume when we load a level, we reset the player so they're not invisible. Set invisible to false. Yes. Okay. And I assume this happens before... Yeah, because this will be an on-user update, so it will keep applying itself anyways. Oh, I see here on level load set invisible to true. I wonder why that doesn't work. There must be another call to set back to false, so maybe we should watch for that variable, because technically, at this point, the player should be invisible. So let's give that a shot. Because we saw this before we even tried to run that function, so even at the beginning of the game, on load, something is changing it. So let's have a look. I'm just going to put a breakpoint in here. Well, that something might have public access to this variable, so I might even have to watch this variable for changes specifically. Which we can do, that shouldn't be too bad. But I am going to put a breakpoint here, as this is the public way to change the invisibility state of the player. I mean, we can check if there's any other location in the game that we change it in. Other than here. Oh, it's optimized out though. We're gonna have to do debug mode, which is fine. But let me take a peek. Yeah, there's no place else in our code where we change the variable individually, so the only way to change the invisibility is through this function call. So where do we call set invisible? We call it here, and we call it here. So in Adventures in Historia, so that makes my understanding that maybe we call reset level states before on level load? Oh, maybe we do. Hold on. This would change state, would call reset level states. And then, well, it wouldn't call on level load there. So that would be the correct order. Okay. But yes, let's debug this. We're gonna figure out what's going on. The player should be invisible. But yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Hope everybody's gonna have a good weekend. Today's gonna be a pretty short stream, but I think we'll finally finish up all the weird stuff that's been going on with this pre-caching thing, and finally we'll have a faster way to load maps. Now, do I store the cache in Git? I want to say yes. Basically, anything that I would like to have, if I were to git pull on a brand new computer without having to regenerate, I want in my Git repo. Like, I don't care if it's binary. If it means I have information that doesn't require me to go to external sources to fetch, then I'm all for it. Except for our game's commercial assets, that I have to keep somewhere else. Happy Friday to you too. I'm tired and ready for some sleep. Oh yeah, for sure. Sleepy time. Weekends are all about decompressing and resting, at least if you have some kind of like weekly schedule. like weekday work schedule or similar. Okay, so I think we'll get a call to set invisible immediately when the game starts, because obviously we're going to be on the main menu, so the first one should be a set invisible call from on level or reset level states, which indeed it is. Oh, I guess this is covered by my webcam. Wait, I used to have this here. I don't know why it moved. Okay, anyway. Yes, so reset level states. I also have a list of breakpoints here. I didn't know there was a breakpoints list. Okay. So we're gonna continue now, and we should hit the next one. Oh, well, we don't need that. We don't care about that. Okay, so we can see the player is like not quite invisible. So that's interesting, right? We didn't get the other call to set the player invisible. That's weird, because on level load, right? Oh, because this logic would prevent it, right? The map cache is not running, so are we using... Oh, I inverted the logic. Oh, shoot. Well, that would explain it. That's a big oopsie. So that would fix it, because now I basically disabled a whole function to load stuff. You're part of the 9 to 5 crowd, but lately it's been 9 to 7. Ooh. A new C-suite always creates churn. Something about efficiency. That sounds very real. I could definitely see that. Okay, so now that I've unreversed the logic... Because I'm supposed to reverse the logic in the if statement, but then I reversed it again, so then I got the boolean I didn't want. So player is invisible, as we would expect again. So that explains it. That would make sense. So I'm going to try to generate cache. Once again. We're going to go whee through all of these. And then hopefully, after it's generated all these stages, we can be back on the title screen and nothing will be messed up. Hopefully. Or we can figure out why we're in a weird state in the game. But hopefully we're not. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of here. And now we've loaded the title screen. The menu is still open, which is funny. I guess we don't ever close the menu. So that's interesting. I wonder if that means we have multiple menus in here. But yeah, we can see it never saved the game, so that's good. Now I wonder what happens if I do it in a loaded file. Oh, we have errors. Key items does not exist in data file. I think this was a carryover from when I originally did accidental saves. It got like messed up. No, key items is definitely there. Like, I'm looking at it right now. That's interesting. Let's see what this is about. Call stack is from load game, load file. Reset game, load file. File is player tutorial. Yeah, just outright didn't load something. Now, we did recently change the read function a little bit, so that could be the issue. But we assume the save file path is correct. It's accessing assets, save 0, which is the file we have open. But apparently the key items is not in there. But if we actually look at the file, we can see it's not the first line, but it is the second line. I wonder if that actually messes with it. Do other save files do this? Yes. So are we just having trouble reading items now? Can we replicate this? It's interesting, right? Like we've changed something to cause this to now occur, right? Okay, so it does happen over and over. Does it happen for every save file? Because if so, we've broken some loading logic. which is bad. Okay, everybody else is fine. So what that's telling me is that the save file is malformed for save 0. Does this not have a closing brace? Oh. Apparently it doesn't, so maybe it is messed up. And maybe I did it by accident, maybe I highlighted something wrong. Oh, wait, this is it right here, right? Yeah, that's the bottom of it. I guess I didn't look at the scroll bar, but it tells you where it starts and ends. Now that's weird, isn't it? Okay. Like, it literally just doesn't think there's an item key there, which I can't imagine why that would be. Like, we can look at the key list again. From here. Oh, we're in release build again, though. That's weird. Like, that's concerning. That's a major function of the program. It's like, how could this have even happened? The only way is this read function. Well, the read function has changed a little, but I can't imagine anything around here to cause it. Yeah, there's nothing here that would have done that, in my opinion. Well, let's find out, shall we? Where's the window? Window? Hello? I'm a little confused. Oh, we're at a breakpoint. I forgot there's a breakpoint there. Okay, I'm like, hello? Okay. So yeah, once again, I would expect even in debug mode this would happen. So key, yeah, doesn't exist in the file. We already checked, like, player tutorial, overworld map location, like all this stuff. Oh, you know what's interesting? Are these the actual keys of the other groups? Minimap? They are. Okay. So I guess those names match up. Obviously, items is not there. So we gotta look at how this parses then. Somehow it's getting completely skipped. Okay. Time to figure out how it parses. Weird. So weird. Alright. Let's go into the read function. After that, that's just the initial string stuff. Okay, file stream is fine. Char data should be putting the entire contents of the file into data. What? Hello? Okay, that took a lot longer than I was expecting. I'll be real. So this is the contents of the file. And it starts with player, which is incorrect. Am I looking at the wrong file? Like, I am in assets, saves, save 0. Like, I'm not going crazy, right? I'm just gonna close this. Do you want to save changes you made? What changes did I make? Hold on, let me copy this and don't save. Maybe something did happen. Oh, yeah, it's the items got gypped. Oh. Okay, so Visual Studio Code was not showing me the most up-to-date file, which means it got replaced, hijacked with that warrior file from before. Okay, I should have figured as much. For some reason, I thought Visual Studio Code was better about that. It would show the latest contents of a file. Maybe it's just because I left it open from a previous load, so it wasn't like live anymore. But I'm pretty sure in most cases it live updates. This must have been a special case. I don't ever turn autosave on though, because I kind of dislike the idea of I type something and then the file is changed. So I don't autosave, but... Okay, so we should be good now, I would hope. So... what I wanted to test was /generate cache. Yeah, and this takes a lot longer now, surprisingly. I think it's because it has to keep expanding that vector, which is kind of expensive. I haven't looked at memory usage in a while, but we're up to 764 megs of memory usage, which is a lot higher than we used to be, so that's something maybe to look into in the future. I assume once that vector's expanded, it won't take as long. Like, that save definitely takes a while. We might want to optimize that function, because this is, like, in a real game situation, I don't think a player would have 200 or 300 items, but I think my item loading or item saving function is ON squared. I'm pretty sure, like, the complexity of the items as the inventory expands in terms of save time is very large. I just remember that being a thing and I'm like, I'm not gonna worry about it. First I've seen VS Code struggle like that. My only assumption would be that the file handle was open with a flag not to share the file with other processes. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyway, okay, so I wanted to test this case where I do generate cache from here. My hope is that we don't get any save file calls. So I'm actually going to put a breakpoint in save file. So if it does get called, or save game, then we know this didn't quite work. Okay, so generating cache. Well, the good news is it hasn't been hit yet, so my assumption is we can generate the cache from any state of the game, and everything will be fine. Although I noticed the menu's still open, so maybe we should close the menu. I feel like we're supposed to do that at any state change. Is this a bug? Like, I think I would consider that a bug, to be honest. If we leave... Oh. What's happening now? Where are we? We are in Gamepad init. Line 51. Okay. Oh wait, that's the wrong thread. Let me find the correct thread. It can be kind of annoying to find. Pixel Game Engine start. Adventures in Listoria. It's probably one of these. It's always hard to figure out where this is coming from. It should be something like... Are there other columns here? I feel like there should be other columns. Oh, here we go. I'm looking for... Process name? No, that doesn't help. They're all from the same process. I don't know what I'm looking for. Hold on. GDI plus thread? I think that's correct. Let me see. No? Most UCRT base. Oh, here we go. UCRT base. We're inside here for whatever reason. Okay. I feel like we're in some kind of like infinite loop, but let's go back a little bit. This is all from remove item. Oh, is it in the middle of unloading the file? Like resetting? See, this is what I was talking about, right? The complexity of removing items from your inventory in the game, like, is very, very high because it updates a ton of other systems and has tons of callbacks. So I think we're actually waiting for the inventory to clear out right now. Yeah, we were. Also, yeah, we definitely have to close the menu because this is... game is in funny state now. But yeah, as we can see, every time we have to load this file with a bunch of items, we do get this problematic load time. Maybe that's the next thing we should work on. Optimizing this. This is gonna be a tough one, though. There's a lot to do to fix that, but I think it's mostly the data structure it's being held in that makes it so hard for it to update everything. Okay, but let's figure that out. So I think it's pretty safe to say that every time we change the state of the game, we need to clear the menus because there's no reason not to. The menus should not be open anymore from a previous state. It's like a clean slate. So let's just say game, or no, it won't even be here. It'd be I think interface. I forget what it's called. Window? No, I think it's under game. It's just under like Windows or something. Windows. No? Alright, I guess I gotta look it up. Oh my, yeah. Game states. Where is the HUD stuff? I called it a very specific... Oh, components. I think... Oh, it's called menu. Alright. Menu... It's probably under game menu. It's been a while. So we have render menu, key menu, no. So that's not it either. Or at least know what I was looking for. Component, menu label, menu, input helper, menu component, which I don't think it would be under that either. Menu, initialize windows, menu component. The interface system was pretty dang complex. I think most menu systems are, but if you're trying to write one yourself, I think I chose a very painful path for it though. I don't see where this is. Last menu. I think this is correct. There's some static functions in here. There's like, yeah, I think the thing just didn't pop up, but it's menu. Close menu. Close all menus, rather. Oh, you know what? Menu might not even be included in here. I'm kind of surprised if it's not. No members available. Let me try close all menus. Incomplete type menu. Okay. So yeah, we have to include menu.h here. I guess it makes sense. We didn't need that before. So close all menus whenever we state change. I think that's fair. There's no reason for the menus to stay open between states. And then after this, we can do a git commit. So maybe we'll shift gears. Maybe we'll actually address or figure out what the item handling problem is. Trying to close out no menu? Why are we doing this? It's like my game's like, why are you closing out nothing? Hello? Are you stupid? Okay, hold on. How about this? If menu... I think it's just a menus member. Yeah. I think we can even say, is menu open? Yeah. Menu close all menus. How about that? I assume this just returns if it's... Yeah, it just returns if the stack is greater than 0. Wait, so what is the menus member for then? It's a map. Oh, okay, it just tells us what the pointer of each menu is. Like, they're all created, but which one pops up is determined by what's in the stack. So in theory, I can only have one version of each menu open at any given time, which makes sense. Each menu is supposed to be like an individual thing. There'll never be one menu meant to have two different states. Not a fan of GUI stuff myself. Window and WND proc left me with a disaster for it. It's not overly complicated, just not intuitive. I'm sure if I tried I could find some enjoyment, but I've historically left it to wrapper libraries. That's fair. That's very fair. Now that I've like written an interface thing myself, I'm like, I kind of never want to ever do this again. It's kind of terrible. Okay, so let's actually go in-game, just for funsies, and even go into, like, let's make our states... Oh yeah, this character has a bunch of health too. It's funny. Let's just go in a menu, and then let's just restart. So, generate cache. Yeah, so, I believe we're okay now. You just get to watch the health go up little by little. It's funny. Okay. Here we go. And we're back. So everything appears to be in order now. And we just don't have extraneous menus everywhere. So that's good. Our game is in a normal state once again. Alright, cool. Happy with that. So I'll go ahead and call that good now. Okay, so I'm gonna grab all these files. Oh, there is one more thing we're gonna do though before we address the inventory thing. Also, we'll make that a new branch. We won't use this branch anymore because this is just about the preloader stuff. But let me commit this first. Map preloading caching completed. Or, I guess, completely functional. I wouldn't say completed because there's a couple more things I would like to do. Caching? E-I-N-G? I don't think I put the E. Caching. It's caching without the E. Okay. According to Reddit. Which we know how reliable they are. Okay. Release build. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that. 12651. Alright, cool. So the final thing I want to do here is, let's say in the future we add a level. The behavior I would like is that I would just start the game and my game would detect there's a new level added, and then it would automatically create the pre-cache file for it at that moment in time. That would be the best way to handle that, because I would not like to have to run that command manually every time and it has to regenerate every file. I think that's a little silly. So I think the way we will do this is right after we load all levels inside of initialized levels. Or I would say even during, right? So we have like initialize levels, populate the entire map key, which is going to be what this function does. So map data gets populated in here, along with generating all the stuff needed for it, tileset wise and minimap wise. And then right after this, we want to then iterate through all of them and find any that don't have, or even we can do it during. So in here, right after initialize level, let's check if the pre-cache file then exists for it. So let's write a little lambda that says pre-cache file exists, and this lambda will accept a map name. And in order to determine if it exists, we need to append assets slash, or prepend it with assets slash cache, and that will get us in the right folder. And then see if this exists. Now it needs to specifically be in the resource pack, not necessarily just existing on the file system, because when we actually release the game, players are not going to have this folder. They're just going to have the resource pack with everything compressed into it. So we're actually looking if the resource pack has the file. So I guess that simplifies it. We don't have to actually do much. We just say return game. I think it's pack. Oh, also let's include a game in our captures. I think we have to. Hello? Oh. For some reason I was thinking this in terms of like an, what do you call it, like an if statement? So I removed that. Heck. So we're gonna see if file exists, given standard format assets slash cache slash file name. I assume the map name is what we're looking for. Oh yeah, because we have to look for... We have to check if both cache files exist. Both the foreground tile data underscore dot data file and the other one. Also, we're going to say this returns a boolean. Okay, this is static storage, so that's fine. So we need to check if this gets returned and the other file exists. If they both exist, then we're good. So this is upper foreground tile data, I think. Yes. Upper capital F. And with that in place, we can say if pre-cache file exists for our level. So that would be the key. then, or if it doesn't exist, we're going to generate the level at this moment. Maybe. Maybe not. Because I'm trying to think where in the loading pipeline initialize the level is. I think it has to be pretty early. But I don't know if we have enough stuff initialized for the game to actually do this yet. Because we still have to initialize the camera. Yeah, this is not a good time to do that. So as much as I would like to incorporate it right after we start this here, we don't have everything in the game ready for it to actually load a level. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to do this for loop again somewhere else later. Or we can just initialize via the map data. That would actually be better. So I guess at the bottom here, we'll just say, oh, we have validate game status. Initial setup complete. So this is assuming everything's been loaded by now. So let's just say right here, this is when we do... What would I call this? Load or pre-cache new levels? I wonder if we should make something for files that are modified too. Because let's say, well, we don't store modified file data in Game Pack, but maybe in here? But how would we know something's changed? Like, we would have to keep an eye on the map files, like, get like a hash of all the map files, then see when they change, or look at the last modified date. I think either way works. And then if they've been modified since the last known one, we have to re-grab them. I think I would just do that manually, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want this process to be very manual. This should just happen in the background. So I don't know. I really want to be able to detect that. Let's do one step at a time here anyway. So we're going to make a new function called pre-cache new levels. Just put that in this class here somewhere. We'll keep it private. I like how this is all unorganized. Let me just fix that real quick. Like, we have two public blocks down here, which I want above private. Public. Okay, yeah, that's better. My expectation is that I have to go all the way to the bottom for private stuff. So, pre-cache new levels is going to be a void. So this will be AIL, pre-cache, new levels. So we will iterate through all of map data for this, for auto the size in map data. Okay. So if it doesn't exist, then we're obviously going to pre-cache it at this time. How do we invoke that process ourselves? I think we just add to our cache list, and that's literally all we have to do. Did I not make a thing called cache? Maybe I called it pre-cache? No? What did I call this? Map cache is running. Oh, it's under the tile group data class now. I forgot. So you do tile group data. Is that not right? Oh, data file. Data is just a random thing. Add to map cache queue, map, or key. So far so good. I'm actually gonna rename key to map because that's what I'm used to. Yes, just those. Okay. So that does anything new. So let's test this out, right? So let's say levels.txt. Let's say I make a brand new map. Where is my... oh. Child. I'm not really gonna make a new map. I'm just gonna load a current map, but I'm gonna make 2 of them. So let's say we have 1.6, and let's say we make another 1.6. We'll just say 1.6-copy.tmx. Then I go down here and I say I'm calling that campaign 7.1, just as a test, right? So then map file is this. I'm not going to specify any loot for it, so I'll leave that option out. I'll hit save here. I'll go ahead and hit release build. And it's going to have to do that now. And I think when it does this, it's going to auto change the game state. So it will kind of happen in the background, but the game will end up going to the main menu state afterward, which should be fine. Yes, because all that is going to happen in the on-user update after the game has already been initialized correctly. So I think this is correct, because nothing gets touched in map cache queue until the game is completely loaded. Well, the game is ready to load stuff. So we should be good there. And then we'll deal with the date last modified stuff. I think it would be easier to detect like last modified dates, but I could be wrong. I also think depending on OS, standard file system or whatever might not be able to return that information. Because we can look at, let's see, represents file type and permissions, space info, perm options, perms, file system, file status. File time type represents file time values, types, file time. Okay, so file write time. Is that all we get? File write time. I guess that's good enough, assuming it does what we want. We don't know if it does what we want yet. Oh, I see, because we haven't loaded the intro map. So we must do this function. So now we can just move this function into the right place. It has to be after the first level has loaded, so I guess every time we're on the main menu, really. That's when we would want to do it. So on level load, reset game. I wonder what change to main menu does. Oh, reset game as in go to main menu and reset the game. That's interesting. But we're already on the main menu here, so yeah. On level load. So right after we do starting map load, I think this happens second. We can do this. Pre-cache any new levels. I guess this is private though, so we're gonna have to make it public now. Funny enough. Hello? So we'll put it here. Okay. It's gonna require a whole recompile, unfortunately. That's what I get for stuffing everything into AIL. But yeah, doing it here makes sense. I don't see a reason why we couldn't do it here. Every time we load the main menu, it's a good time to check for any new levels. This might also make it flexible enough to where, let's say, we were modifying levels and then we want to just test them out in game. Technically, this would be a perfect opportunity to recache them. We can just go back to the main menu. The game does auto-generate them on the fly if they're missing, but again, doing the pre-cache stuff earlier would also be nice. Mostly for my sake, so I don't have to actually go in the level to pre-cache them. Which technically as the developer I should do, but let's say we reset like the asset pack. Like I said, I add something to an asset pack, then everything needs to be regenerated anyway, so that's when this function would come in. Okay, so did it do it? I guess we would get some console output if it did. Let's check. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Maybe we don't get console output. I think it just goes to the tile or the debug console, which is not really what I want. Now that I'm out of the console, how about this? Oh, you know what? Yeah. I want to also log it. So I think log will do both. Let's try it. So we're just gonna do log this. And let me see what happens. Debug logger. That's a global? Does that get set in here to the console out? Oh, it just goes to that file. Okay, can we add another stream to this? Well, I guess I don't want everything appearing in console out. Or do I? I think that would be nice, actually. Make the console act as the logger as well. I do like that. I don't think I can include it here unless I make it global. I guess I can make it global too. So we'll make another output file stream that's global for the console out. Admin console out. And then in here, I can say, well, maybe not main, but in on user create when the game engine's been initialized. Admin console out equals console out. Looks like that's not settable. Because it's a string stream, not an output file stream. String stream. Is that okay now? Are you happy? You're not happy. Oh, it's because we don't have string stream included. I forgot, stream is not string stream. Okay. Is that happy now? I hope so. Maybe it's not possible to set, or maybe it's just IntelliSense lagging behind. But that would be nice. It's gonna make it really busy in there now, but I don't mind. It's an admin console after all. I kind of want to try that again now. So let's say... Actually, let's say we just delete everything, right? I think that's a good way to test. Including the new file we just made. Let's say, like... delete the game pack. Let's say we have new stuff to add. Then, technically the game should start its Q. No such file or directory. Is it str stream? I think the class is called string stream, but the header is called str stream. Looks like that's the case. So with that set, what I'm hoping for is that they just get added to the queue immediately and start doing that. I guess I could breakpoint here. We can see if this even happens. I hope it does. And then it should go through and load all those queue files for us. Because I did make this with the intent of it actually loading something new, so we could try this again. I'll just delete it for now, and then we'll try adding it and seeing what happens. It might also be that the map file doesn't get added. I'm not sure if the map file goes in the asset pack. I feel like it doesn't. Also, I thought I deleted this. Delete? Maybe I said no on the delete, but I wanted to delete it. Because I want to see it actually go through and do that. Oh, compile failed. String stream equals attempting to reference the deleted function, so we can't assign. Well, how did this do it? Because there is a SS console output here. sbuff old C out, which was a stream buff. Let me see how it does this in the engine. So sbuff old C out equals std cout.rdbuff. So what is rdbuff? Does that just return a stream buff? String buff? rdbuff. iOS rdbuff manages the associated stream buffer, returns the show associated stream buffer. So we can reassign the pointer like they did here, and then output using that pointer instead. Okay. So I think looking at this, the way we would do it then is we would say this is a stream buff pointer that by default is nulled out. So we'll just say we'll initialize this as null pointer, and then obviously we can't write to a null pointer, so I didn't even write it here. I just made the variable. If admin console out is not equal to null pointer, then we'll go ahead and output to it as well. So we'll pretty much do the same thing, just change the out to admin console out. Oops. We're gonna have to dereference it. And then it should be happy. Maybe? Or do we have to do something else with this? I guess it's not actually a... It's not actually gonna let us output to it. We have to do something else with it then. Because rdbuff will let us get the pointer, but then how do we utilize that? What C++ standard version are you using? I believe we're just on latest, like 23 or something. Although I'm not actually using any 23 features as far as I know. Yeah, I just have it on latest. I have no reason not to have it on latest. Because this project is constantly evolving, so I kind of just use whatever features are available to me. I guess my only concern would be if I'm going to compile this for Linux or Mac, which this is technically compatible for, I have to be mindful of what compiler features I have on those systems. So what I've had to do in the past was downgrade some things if they're too new, which is rare, but it does happen. Oh, that makes me think. I can use, well, the whole reason I was trying to do this was to avoid including adventures in Listoria.h in error.h, which they both need. So I have to abstract out these things. Which I guess I could do. I think. Well, no, if they're inline though... Alright, let me think about that. If they're inline, does it matter? Now I'm curious. I kind of want to try it, but I think the header recursion thing will still occur regardless. Because error would need adventures in Listoria, adventures would need error. So I need to split this up if I'm going to do that. Which I'm okay with. I was just trying to avoid this, but I'm thinking, okay, I'll just actually use the console out from there, since I can't, at least as far as I know, I can't assign it, but it looks like RDBuff. Oh, the second function sets it. I didn't even see that. So even though it's called RDBuff, it does let us reassign. Returns the associated stream buffer before the operation. Okay. So our debuff is used for that purpose. So if I were to make a new instance of string stream here and just our debuff here, that should work in theory. Or not a string stream instance, excuse me, a string buff instance. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a, not a strung buff, but a string buff for admin console out. And then, again, this won't be immediately available, so I guess a better way to do this would be an optional, right? Because it's not necessarily available immediately. I don't really like the idea of using the raw pointer, so I'll just avoid it. Is this, what is this? IO stream? I mean, IO stream is there. Okay, I think it's just IntelliSense lagging behind, but that should be correct. So I do RD buff now. I didn't even see that before. So RD buff. Like this. Well. I guess it wouldn't be an optional, it would just be unassigned. So what would that mean? How do we check if it's assigned or not? I guess we would have to return it and see if there's no, returns a null pointer. So it returns a null pointer anyway. Okay, so it's like it handles its own pointer. That's kind of cool, actually. I like that. So if admin console out RD buff is not equal to null pointer, then I guess it's just getting it back into a stream that we can actually use. Okay, yeah, because we would just pipe into it now. So that should be fine. And we would do this. And this. I feel like that's supposed to work, like my understanding of it here. But it says basic string buff. Oh wait, it's stream buff, not string buff. I keep getting that confused. Okay, so I think we're doing it right now. I hope. So assign we don't need to do the optional stuff anymore. So just assign here. Then output using these, which should work. I'm just gonna try compiling because I don't think IntelliSense is keeping up with what I'm doing here. Let's see. Stream buff cannot access protected member declared in basic stream buff. RD buff is not a member. Did I do it wrong? It requires a stream buff pointer. Oh, a pointer? So do I have to get the address of? Okay. No. It just says it doesn't have a... Does this not know what to do? Maybe not. I feel like the OC Pixel game engine would have included it though. STR... well... IO stream? Really? I'm pretty sure it would be. More or less. I don't know where this... Let's see where this comes from. I think it... I don't know what header this comes from, but apparently I'm using this wrong somehow. Because this is a stream buff object. What's this? sbuff old C out is a stream buff pointer. Is there a reason it has to be a pointer and it can't just be a stream buff itself? I guess it's because our debuff returns a pointer. So let me think about that. And then I can assign the pointer. So when I call this, it should be assigning from a pointer. So doing this is correct, I think. Like, so far everything looks right, but it is complaining. Inaccessible. So maybe that's why we have to do a pointer? Because stream buff itself is... the constructor is not a thing? Okay. Well, if it allows a pointer, then I guess that would work. But then I'm looking back here, why... So I have to do RD buff on the original SS console output, which originally is just a string stream created by itself. So I would be doing something like admin console out equals... Oh, also this is a global, right? So I need to... I mean, I include error.h, so I presume that I can just access it from anywhere, assuming I inline it up here. Why is this wrong? Why does this look wrong? Because it's like, this is a pointer now. So I would only expect this to, yeah. Okay. I guess I was expecting to use it like this syntax here, like a stream. So in the end, I need to, yeah, I'm just gonna do it the other way. Because the way I'm trying to do it now, I would have to change standard C out every time I log it, and I don't really want to do that. It's like, I'm not trying to change standard C out. I just want to output to that new string stream. So I'll just pass the string stream along and do it that way. Which is fine. I need to break out error.h into a CPP file. And I got enough time to where we can at least get that done for now. Well, it was fun trying to play with that though. I didn't realize our debuff has a read and a write in the same exact function, which is interesting. So what are we bringing out? this is the class, so everything inside of class error is what I want to take out. Because what we're going to have to do is this variable, we're going to have some kind of variable, or no. We need to include game so we can access or adventures in Lestoria.h, like so we can actually access the game pointer, which then lets us, it's gonna look something like this. And once we can access the game pointer, we can then access the console out there and log the correct place, which should be game. Well, this isn't necessary anymore, or maybe it is. Yeah, we still need to check if game console out is a thing or not, because it might not be ready when we try to output at the beginning. So this is a string stream, but it might not necessarily be initialized yet. So we're gonna do RD. Do we have RD state? Would that tell us anything interesting? Because I think it would be weird to, or I would like to learn more about how these work, right? So what is RD state? Returns the current stream error state. So no error, irrecoverable, failed, or end of file. So if we start a stream, the state is, stream state is good bit. Because the stream is ready, but what if it's null pointer? I guess that's what we want to know. So I know I could just check it with null pointer, but I would like to actually understand what state it's in before if we just have an empty pointer. So let's say, let's just have an exposed like string buff, I guess. Can we just have an empty string buff that like isn't going anywhere? So now we can say am I doing this right? Hold on. String buff pointer string buff. I keep typing the wrong things. And then we have a string stream test. And then we say standard C out gets set to, or RD buff gets set to, there's a set RD buff. I guess that's more like implicit, but apparently the second version of RD buff also sets, which is fascinating. So if I just do this, this hasn't been set yet. This is just null pointer. So what is the state of this after the fact? Is what I'm curious about. Can we do a call to that and output? Well, now we can't output to standard C out, which is kind of the whole point. So maybe I'll make a new stream for testing, because I don't want to compromise. No default constructor exists. I wonder, let's just write some, how would we do this then? We just have to write some code that executes? Like, I'm just trying to think, how would we actually check this? So it'd be RD state? Because I kind of just want to see into RD state, so as long as it's got some code path to go into, we should be able to look at it. Let's see what happens. Uninitialized variable buff used. Get out of my way. I can't auto hide you for some reason. Unused. Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I specifically want it to be null pointer. Okay, so let's just jump into, or, oh, would it return? Where's my autos? It literally didn't return anything. Can I set it? Let's just set it. Maybe that'll help, right? Because it told us what it would set it to. So A is 4. And that is... Well, I assume this is like 0124. So end of file bit. EOF bit, implementation defined. But 0 is a good bit, so it will be something other than good. I guess that makes sense, right? If it's non-zero, then something happened. It's not good. So we want to say, I guess, if not RD state, then that means it's good. Is there like a .good function by chance? Oh, there is. I think I prefer that, honestly. Okay, so we can... That's kind of what we're aiming for. So let's get rid of these. No inline. And no static. This becomes error ::log. This becomes error debug. And then in here, we get rid of the definitions. And then we will define those all in here. So we just have to... I think that's it. Everything else should be fine. And now this makes it so I don't have to include adventures in liststory.h inside of error.h, which would cause an infinite cascade of headers calling each other over and over. And we should be able to output to the admin console, so we can go back to our original test now of trying the pre-cache files, assuming I did everything right. I just want to make it so the console out from the game would be included, the admin console. Because I think that's a nice touch. Because I kind of like what I have going here. We write to a debug file, we write it to standard out, and we write it to the game's console out, the admin console. Which is kind of nice. I just like having that feature set. I'm just waiting for this. I'm gonna pull up this sheet. I need to just send this to someone real quick. I just send that. Okay. Unresolved external symbol, error log, and error debug. What? I included them here, right? Did I put error.cpp in like a bad location? I'm pretty sure I just put it right here. I did. So what's wrong with that? Maybe it's just I hit compile too early? No, that wouldn't make sense, right? Yeah, it's saying unresolved external symbol. Did I like put the wrong things here? Debug. Oh, these are inline though. Oops, get rid of the inlines, please. Inline would mean I would define it right there. So that's why. God. I have to recompile one more time. That's so silly. Okay. So... yeah, that's gonna hopefully make that work. But it looks like we can access the file write time, so maybe we'll play with that while we wait for the compile. So, this as an example. Let's try file write time on some known file inside of my example repo. Yeah, get to it first. Source repos example. So let's play around with this like 3x, what is this? 3x.png. Oh, it's Nonomy? Okay, let's play with that real quick. So if I do standard file system, I think it was write time. Well, I'm gonna need to access the file first, I guess. Path. I think we just type in the directory, so it'd be like 3x.png. File. And then we do file.write-time. Wait, where did we see write time? Because I think I was looking at file system. Back up a little bit. File system, file time type. Classes. Oh, it's just a class? Well, that's not what I want. How do I... Oh, last write time. That's what I was looking for. So it accepts the file system path for files... Is this a static function? Last write time. These are non-member functions. Okay. So standard file system... File write... Oh my goodness. File write time? The underscore write time? Oh my gosh. Last write time. These names are not what I think of them in my head. So, standard file system path. I'll just construct it right there. And then I'll just see what this outputs, just to get an idea. And then we'll modify and see what it outputs. Presumably it's something reasonable. Okay, so that looks like some kind of timestamp thing, which we can presumably print out to be human readable, or parse it. It's probably like a Unix timestamp or something. Standard format. Okay. And just store this, I guess. Auto time. So this says December 16th, 2020 at 3:10 a.m. Yeah, that's probably Zulu. And then let me just make a modification to it. And then it says it's been modified today. So we can essentially use that to determine changes in our map files, which can then auto-trigger this pre-cache file thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that run. And we get a runtime error. No focus areas included in the intro map. Wait, why is this over here? I think that's old. Let me make a new one over here. So it's still assuming we're... Okay, so we have to do the same thing as we did in... what do you call it? Because we add to map cache queue, but... Let me see. We load level without changing state. I feel like we should force a change state at the same time. Well, either way, we're basically like, oh, we've detected a change, let's cause the state change. So maybe that's a good time to do that. On console command. I'm just looking for what we used yesterday. Right here, we just changed the state to game run. So we would have to do the same thing. If we find something, that's when we call change state to game run. And maybe adding it to the map cache queue. Let's see, when we start processing, how about we check if we're not in that state? Or does it hurt, would it hurt to change state every time? I think so, because we're calling load level every time. So maybe if... No, this is probably fine. I think that would be perfectly fine. Let's try it. But yeah, it looks like it's working as intended. It's catching the uncached levels, so then it's trying to make them. And then we should hopefully be able to see it not only in our debug log, that it's going to do that, but also in our admin log if we pull that up. So yeah, it's doing that now. We can pull up in our admin console too, or maybe not. Apparently we can't... Admin console... I was hoping it would show up here, but it actually doesn't. That's interesting. So maybe that doesn't quite work the way I expected. But we'll figure that out later. Anyway, it's appearing in my debug log, so that's fine. And then... Oh, we end up here again, so... I guess we have to figure that part out still. Because this is like, okay, call game run. But then... Removes it from the queue. Yeah, I'm not sure how we're gonna get out of this situation. So we still need to fix that part. Okay, more bugs for next time, I guess. We're getting there. I just wanted to reach this ideal setup where everything happens automatically in the background. We don't have to do any manual intervention to get all this to work. So we kind of have some tools for how we're going to finish this. Now we just have to finish it. I have to figure out what is going on with this weird state change. That will be for next time. Yeah, looks good. So... For those of you that tuned in today, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you next time, fixing more bugs and finalizing this dang feature we've been trying to implement. So, take care everyone, have a good weekend, see you next time. You too, Kraton. Take care.